Welcome to 3 Questions, where critical thinking is king. And my opinions and research are only here to support your learning and deeper understanding. Hey, I'm your host, Meghann, and I am so honored you clicked on the last episode of 2025. I want to say I can't believe this year is over already, but I feel like I'm ready for a new year. What about you? I mean, I cannot believe we're 40 episodes in, and I really must say I just am grateful for every single download and listen to this podcast. I started the podcast to connect with you guys on a different level. You know, on Instagram, it's 1 minute there, 30 seconds there. And I feel like there was a lot of assumptions about my work. So I wanted to be able to share it with you on a bigger scale where you didn't have to pay for it. And most of all, trying to model more critical thinking in the movement industry. So I hope I hit the mark. I didn't hit it all the time, but I am just so grateful you are still here. Or if you're a new listener, welcome. Go back and check out some of the older episodes and get excited for some really great interviews and episodes in 2026. So enough about chatting. Let's get to it. So to set the tone for today's episode, I would like us to look back on 2025 with curiosity, always, and compassion. I want you to talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. Not when they need the hard truth. Maybe when they need, a little compassion, some good listening, and then the truth at the end. So treat yourself how you would treat your best friend. Don't be harsh. Don't be judgmental. Just be curious. Which leads me to question 1. What moment taught you the most this year? What moment taught you the most this year? And I was really struggling with the word there. I was going to say what lesson, what aspects of your business, what in your personal life. And sometimes it's just these tiny moments that teach us the most. Sometimes they're larger moments, and sometimes they hit us in the face and we didn't even see them coming. So ask yourself right now, what moment taught you the most? And question 1B, how can we apply that lesson to maybe something completely unrelated? I think sometimes we think, 1 plus 1 is always 2. We keep that in math over there. But sometimes the lessons we learn in math, we can apply to other aspects of our life. And vice versa. Taking a mathematical model and bringing it to something bigger, and taking a critical thinking model and bringing it to something more linear like mathematics can be really powerful. I encourage all my students, and especially my mentees, if they're a movement professional, stop taking movement courses. Go take a course in organization, leadership, communication, education. If you're an educator, go take a course in movement. Go take a course in plumbing. Think outside of your own box, because the little moments and lessons that we learn outside of what we do apply on a bigger scale. So there's been quite a few moments that are just dancing around in my head. But one of the moments I'm thinking of is changing a toilet. We needed to change the toilet in the downstairs bathroom. It was very short, so a Meghann height. I am 5'3" and a half. Brian is 6'6". So it's kind of a long way to get down to the toilet. So as a present to him, I bought a very tall toilet. Now, if you come to my house, be prepared. Your legs will swing. I can barely touch my feet to the ground, but it is very comfortable for my very tall husband. And when I asked the plumber, he quoted me about $1,500 to do it. And you might be thinking, oh, they're ripping you off. No. My plumber's the best. Used to be our next door neighbor. He is the best. His business is the best. He has the most experience. So I'm not just paying for his time, I'm paying for his expertise. But I also have a father-in-law that is very handy. So I said, Tom, can you come over and teach me how to change a toilet? I want to be able to do it. Because I also realize I outsource a lot of things in life. So I was like, I feel like if I just follow step by step, I can do it. And we did it. And it was great. And what it showed me is two things. People will pay for experience when they really need it. We had a leak in the ceiling. I'm not going around there trying to figure out where that leak is from. We hired the plumber to figure that out, and it was money well spent. But to change the toilet, I was able to do it myself. Not because I thought my plumber was overpriced, but I said, well, hold on, let me try it first. And guess what would happen? If I totally screwed up, he would have been my first call, and guess what? It probably would have been double the price. So the lesson right there is charge what you are worth. Put a value on what you do. When you are paying for an hour of my time, you are not just paying for that hour. You are paying for all those degrees, 3/4 of a doctorate, my 24 years of experience, my expertise as the person who developed a lot of these methodologies. You're paying for all of that. And I say to my students a lot of times when I travel or I go teach at their studios, your clients didn't blink paying my prices. Well, they did ask me about it. And I said, yeah, but they didn't ask me. They paid it with no questions asked. So what is that telling you? And they realized that they were devaluing what they do. And they're like, well, I'm not as good as you. Bullshit. Most of my mentees are way beyond where I was at their experience level. Shout out to Charlene. Charlene said to me, watching you, I realized I'm never going to be that good. And I said, whoa. You've been doing this neuro-based work for like 3 years, if that. You are way better at it than I was 3 years in, like leaps and bounds. So just imagine where you're going to be at 24. Just imagine where you're going to be at 5 years, right? So don't look at what other people are doing and compare. Look at them to be a role model. Pay the people who have done the things you want to do, right? When I started this podcast, my first call was my good friend Shantae, the movement maestro. Why? Because she knows me. I trust her. She understands the work I do. She understands how my brain works, and she's an expert at podcasting and marketing. So I had no qualms paying her high rate for an hour. And I don't even want to say high rate. She deserved every penny of that and more. I said, shoot it to me straight. Let's go down the list. I paid her to help me get organized. I paid for the best person so I could hit the ground running. She gave me excellent advice, and I have gotten that money back in just ease, right? Trying to figure out things yourself can be frustrating. I was lucky with the toilet. I didn't have to pay my father-in-law. Maybe I had to get him a few beers, but I kind of had free expertise right there. Now, if Shantae gave me free expertise, which I would never ask for, well, that would have been a different story, okay? But I wouldn't be sitting here right now, calm, cool, and collected. Look how calm I look. If you're not watching on YouTube, there was an eye roll in there. Because I put a value on somebody's expertise, somebody who got me. So let that moment teach you that you are more than just an hourly fee. You go to the best doctors, the best lawyers. You buy the best equipment. I always say to people when they want to buy Pilates equipment, you get what you pay for. Don't buy that cheap machine. Trust me, in another year, you're going to buy the expensive machine. It was a waste of $1,000. Okay? We all know this, but we have to embody it. So that lesson taught me so much, and I have applied it across the board. I used to feel guilty charging for my travel because I love what I do, and I do, at the end of the day, money is nice, but it's never been my motivator. I love giving people that hope again. I'm heading to California next week, making a pit stop to one client that is completely out of my way. Why? Well, first of all, I freaking love her. She's an early adapter. She needs the help. And I've got this new treatment plan that I'm working on, and I want her to be the first to experience it. Why am I going out of my way? Well, because I want to. And because I put a value on what I do. So I am able to charge for my travel, which is why when I travel, my fee is higher than when I'm in New Jersey. Okay? If you want to come see me, come on down. Come join us in New Jersey. I'd love to see you anytime to save money. So, lesson there. Put a value on what you do. Say it with your chest. And anybody who questions it, don't be mad at them. They're just weighing the cost-benefit analysis. They're saying, well, hold on. Do I need her to help me with this, or can I do it myself? And when people question, I say, there is zero pressure. I am here when you need me. And it's also what I say to my family. When they ask me, what should I do for my low back or my shoulder? I say, let me know when you're actually ready and you want to do something. I'll train them for free, but not until they're ready. I fell for it this Thanksgiving. I was giving everybody advice that they didn't want to hear. They just wanted to talk. They wanted to express what they were going through. They didn't want a solution. I gave a lot of solutions. I got annoyed, but shout out to my godfather, Uncle Jackie, who actually listened and came into my studio and did a few exercises. So, moving on. The other moment, oh my God, am I getting choked up already? The other moment that taught me the most lessons is time. How do I best say this? Time is not guaranteed. As many of you know, I lost someone very close to me at a young age, okay? He was my cousin, but he was more like a brother and a best friend. It was really traumatic to me. So when my dad was diagnosed with another cancer this year, that was much more serious, it was very hard. That being said, watching my dad's strength, my mother's strength, my sister's strength, my husband, my brother-in-law, my niece and nephew's strength through it all gave me the strength. I also realized I have been living a goal since Jason passed away of being present and quality time. We are all going to lose our parents. I am very blessed that I will have no regrets when that time comes. Now, please understand, I won the parental lottery. They are amazing. And little spoiler alert, there may or may not be an interview with them in 2026 that hysterical, fun, and you'll understand why I am the way I am. But anyway, and I encourage you all, whether it's your parents, your best friend, your spouse, somebody, go the extra mile. Ask the questions. Dig a little deeper. I had the best conversation with my father ever about money. And he shared something with me that really shifted something. I feel like I've always seen him in a certain light. And he shared some struggles he had experienced and how he overcame them. And it kind of made me feel less alone in what I was going through. And so it was like an opportunity where I was like, oh my God, I am so lucky I was able to have that conversation. It was awesome. And again, it doesn't have to be with parents. It doesn't have to be with family. Because if you don't have, sometimes we can't choose blood. Okay? Find somebody else in your life who really fills gaps for you. Put in the time. They come first. I know I say family first, and I don't want to alienate anybody who doesn't have family in the way I do, but you can create your own family. You guys are my family. The Neuro Studio is also part of the family. I believe that, and I live that every day. Because at the end of the day, you can't be buried with money. It doesn't make you a better person. It does make things easier, but I want to leave this world slightly better place, maybe with a little more laughs and some fun on the way out. And the final thought of that moment with my dad and sharing it. Never apologize for having feelings or getting upset. It was a video that changed me. Arya Stark from Game of Thrones was talking about something traumatic in her childhood. And she got upset, choked up, and she paused and she didn't apologize. And she is way younger than I am. And I said, that is amazing. Why do we apologize when we get upset? I am passionate about my work, my family, especially my dad. So out of the lessons, my lessons, save money where you can, because sometimes it's great for us to learn things. Spend money on the things that matter. Put a value on what you do. And spend that extra moment with the people you love, because they matter way more than that hourly fee. And last but not least is, do not apologize or be anybody but yourself. I can be funny. I can be serious. I can be a bitch. I can be the nicest person. I can pop off. If you come after someone I love, I will come even harder. I even say, it's not what I wanted to say. I will come at you even harder. Anytime somebody comments on one of my students' posts negatively, I'll be the first there to defend you. Okay? I'm not a social justice warrior. These keyboard heroes. Sometimes I'd love to be like, would you say that to my face? Right? But at the same point, I can also be a pushover. I get really emotional when I talk about people I love. Mariska used to tease me. She's like, why do you always get choked up when you talk about my health and when she had cancer? And I said, because I love you. And then, of course, I made a joke and we laughed and we hugged awkwardly, because what we do. And then we moved on and watched GIFs. But she knows I love her and I know she loves me. So I hope a little bit insight into that and those stories. Hopefully you can see yourself in one or more, or maybe none of them, and reach out. I am so curious. What was the moment that taught you the most, and how are you going to apply it to something completely different? And yes, when I retire from this, I think I want to go into plumbing. I am really good at fixing toilets and I like plumbing. There's like an entry, there's an exit. The only thing is, I don't really want to clean up other people's shit. I feel like that's where I draw the line. But like, I feel like plumbing is fascinating to me. And it kind of connects with the body. Our body has plumbing. And what was interesting, not to totally go off subject, but I love to do that. My Uncle Jackie is so handy. He redid our kitchen in our old house. He's redone my sister's kitchen. Like, he can fix and put anything together. And I said to him, I'm like, look at your body. Like, would you work on Jacob's house with a crack in the foundation and put a roof on? He's like, no, Meg. I'm like, all right, so we've got to fix this foundation first. You can't feel your feet. Let's get on my vibration plate. Try these Naboso insoles. Then, now let's do the exercise. Let's offset like your upper body. You're really strong in your upper body. And I told him, I'm like, think of your body as plumbing. Like, you can't just fix one part without it affecting the other. And honestly, I think he's the only one that listened to me because I put it in words he could understand. He's like, when I said it like that, he's like, oh my God, the body is just like a house. I never looked at it that way. Okay? So, moving on to question 2. Let's work backwards. And yes, if you listen to the previous episodes, one of the education models that I follow is the backwards design. Now, people think it's very simple that you start with just a goal, but that is not it at all. Backwards design, because everybody's like, well, I always start with a goal. And I'll be like, yeah, but that's not really your goal. And it's less about the goal, more about the assessment. So if we start backwards, right, and create goals for 2026, all right? So we thought about what we learned the most in 2025. Let's look ahead to 2026, shall we? So starting at the end, yell out a goal you have for 2026. Yell it out. Okay? Now, with that information, what would be step 1 for achieving that goal? So I love when people are like, I want to make more money in 2026. It's like, okay, hello, vague. let's be more specific. How are you going to make more money in 2026? Are you going to raise your prices? Are you going to work more hours? Are you going to change your offerings? Are you going to completely change your business model? I had a call with someone I really adore, who owns 2 studios. And I said, first of all, listen to my podcast about studios. Pilates studios were never a good business model. She works her butt off. And I'm like, honestly, you could be making so much more money doing it this way. And we've kind of outlined an approach for 2026 for her based off her goals in her business. And I could see the hesitation of fear. And I was like, don't think scarcity. Think abundance. You're a great teacher. You're so personable. I 100% believe in you in this mission, but I can't believe in you more than you do. She's like, no, I believe in myself. I'm like, well, then when you're ready, do that change. But just saying I want to make more money in 2026, if you're not willing to make the changes to get to that goal, you are setting a goal that you will never achieve. This is why I don't like New Year's resolutions. Because sometimes the resolutions we make, we don't want to do the work it will take to get there because we haven't clearly defined the steps. Now, if you want to dig deeper in steps and systems, okay, got a previous episode just on creating systems in your life, your business, etc. But back to this. So what is kind of a goal you have? And instead of focusing on that goal, focusing on the assessment to get to the goal. So I feel like let's just use this. Make more money in 2026. Okay. How can you make more money? What job do you do? Okay, so if I teach Pilates, perfect. Okay, are you willing to raise your rate? For me, no, not at this point. My rate is high enough, and that is fine. Do people all the time tell me I should be charging more? I don't care what they say. This is fine. That being said, so if I want to make more money without increasing my rate, well, what would I have to do? Work more hours? I already work too many hours. Well, is there a way I can increase my hourly rate in a course or a group cylinder or a group class? Okay? Now, work your way backwards. If you're teaching a lot of group classes, people always think that makes more money. A lot of our level 3 teachers, we do the math. They would actually make more money with a private session charging a rate that they deserve based off their experience and their expertise rather than stressing about getting asses in the seats for a group class. And people are always canceling, moving things around. I try not to manage other people's lives. Let them manage their lives, right? But you've got to look at your numbers. I did a podcast episode about that, understanding your floor and ceiling in your business. Definitely give that one a listen. Okay? How are you going to make more money? And saying, I'm going to make more passive income by creating a workshop and then selling it all year. There is no such thing as passive income, my friends. Yes, technically there is, but let me explain. The easiest part of a workshop is writing the workshop. And you're going to be like, no, it's not. Trust me. The easiest part is writing the workshop. I didn't say that was easy. Once you write the workshop, people think, oh my God, all my clients love me. People follow me on Instagram. That doesn't lead to sales. You have to sell that workshop. And guess what? You can't just sell it once. You got to sell it repeatedly. So if you wanted what's called an Evergreen course, where you do it once, you record it, and then you sell it, you got to build excitement every month. What's the urgency? They're just going to wait. You've got to be on social media. You are then becoming a marketing person. So a lot of movement people think, I'm just going to make workshops and make a ton of money. How? That's a good goal, but what are the other goals? What are going to be the assessments? If you want to do a workshop and make money, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to do social media, email lists, SEO, search engine optimization? Because once you write the workshop, yes, you're going to have to teach it, but then you've got to become a marketing person. And no offense, a lot of the people I work with are not great at marketing because it's not their expertise. So go take a course in marketing. Okay? Don't take another movement course. Take something in marketing that's going to help build your business. Do a mentorship with someone like me and Mariska who have had success in the area you want. And just be careful about mentorships. It boggles my mind what people sell. if they're only making money off selling you to tell you how to do things, make sure they've actually done it themselves. Ask them to, I will open up my P&L sheet to any student. Here's where I make my money, how I did it. This is where it was before. The reason being, I believe in full transparency. So make sure they've actually done the thing that you want to do. They're not just taking other people's information and then selling it to you because they're a good salesperson. Just be conscious of that. Reach out to me. I'll also, listen, Shantae kind of knows a lot of people in that business. Like, I can even ask her, hey, what do you think about this person? And listen, not that you should just take my advice, but I think it's good to kind of really make sure the person you want to work with has the chops that can really help you. Okay? So back to the workshop it's easy to sell a workshop the first time. It's kind of funny. I'm amazed when the neurostate will market someone's workshop and they're like, oh my God, I can do this myself. They don't realize that we, since 2014, have been building an email list. We nurture people on social media. We give out a lot of free information, and we only recommend courses that we believe in. Okay? So just because you're a great teacher does not mean people are going to buy things because you wrote them. I just always like to be super transparent and honest with people, because if your goal is to make more money in 2026, writing a workshop might not be that. It definitely can be. And I'd love for you to diversify your income. So yes, and just be realistic. So when we set our goals, what is going to be the assessment? How are we going to assess if we're going in the right direction? Say you want to lose weight as a goal in 2026 or gain weight. So number one, if you want to lose weight or gain weight, you have to change your eating habits. You can not out-train a bad diet, whether you want to lose or gain weight. Okay, so if you are not willing to look at your diet, cook more, make sure your digestion's great, you are going to struggle with the weight loss goal. Yes, there's things that can help you. Wonderful. But for me, I like looking at a holistic approach, the whole person. So whether you're using something to help you, how is that going to affect your entire system? How is losing weight or gaining weight going to change your proprioception? Which is one big reason why a lot of people lose weight, but they cannot keep it off because they haven't retrained their proprioception. The body doesn't feel safe. I feel like I'm just plugging my podcast this whole episode. I did a episode on weight loss, and I think it's really important. I feel best at this weight. I wish I felt better 10 pounds lighter. Not that I need to lose weight, but I sometimes like how that looks in clothes better, but I don't feel great. I don't feel comfortable in my body. My skin feels weird. I've got more sensory issues when I'm lighter. But man, if I am 5 pounds heavier than this, my sensory issues are much, much worse. I feel pressure everywhere. I feel bloated when I'm not even bloated. It's kind of crazy. I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, oh my God, you look so thin today. But I will feel so bloated just due to 5 pound increase the pressure on my skin. I have sensory issues. That's not an everybody thing. That's a me thing. But really critical that when you set these goals, you work backwards. What's the goal? What's our step? And how are we assessing this? Because say you're like, I don't want to change my diet. Okay, well, what if we just change the goal? Of maybe it's maintaining your weight, or maybe it's building more muscles so that you burn more calories through the day. Okay? When you're thinking about goals for 2026, be realistic. Don't go to the 5-year goal or the end of the year goal. Plan out what steps you need to take to get there. And sometimes it takes just hiring someone you value to help you with those step-by-steps. If you're trying to get out of pain, you might want to reach out to one of our level 3 teachers, Justine, who works with chronic pain. She takes people step-by-step through the process because everybody wants to be out of pain, but it is complex and there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle in there, right? Say you maybe want to lose weight or build muscle and you want a weightlifting program to help. Well, you want to find someone who does that, right? That'll help you go step by step by step. I know you all want to skip steps. That shit don't work. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go over my 30-minute mark today because it's the last episode. And it's important to talk about question number 3. It's kind of similar to question number 2. Based off question 2, your goals. We went backwards. We thought about now what is step 1 to get there. How are we going to assess our progress? And through those assessments, we can always change the goals. But with those assessments, it also needs to change our approach, because midway through your goal, you might have been like, oh my God, I went with the workshop route and I'm not getting any traction. It's June. Should I quit? I'm going to say no. Longevity matters, but maybe we can throw something else in the mix to help you get to the goal. Let's pivot. Let's fill different gaps there so you can still get to your goal. And with that, could we, instead of making big resolutions, commit to making small shifts in 2026? Small shifts in 2026. I always think it's funny because when I say shift, it sounds like shit. Shift. Shift. There's an F in there. Anyway. And why do I want small shifts? For 2 reasons. Small changes equals big results. Let's talk about finances again. If you want to save money, $20 a week doesn't feel like a lot. But if you put $20 a week aside, at the end of the year, you're going to have a lot of money. If you invest that money, you're going to have even more money. Okay? If you invest it more aggressively, you'll have more money. I am not an aggressive investor. I don't like gambling. I don't like aggressive investments. I always say to my financial person, my dad is much more aggressive. I am not aggressive. I don't want to lose money, but I am in for the long game. Right? And even $5 a week can really yield a lot. Okay? So there's $20 a month. Now, that might not seem a lot every year, but if you do that starting at a young age or even starting at 70, that might be your money to go out for dinner or do something. So think every small change is an investment in you. I can't say this enough. Everybody is so focused on the big goals. All my clients want to walk better. And I'm like, yes, I know that is your goal, but you are not focused on the steps to get yourself there. And I am fine with changing the goal. But if you want to walk better, we have to do X, Y, and Z. I'll say to a client, you do not have sensory input coming in from your feet. You do not have proximal hip control. You cannot gaze stabilize. Whatever part of their gait cycle is problem, we've got to work on that and integrate it with the rest of the body. Just doing a gait exercise is not going to make you walk better. Just eating healthier might not lead to the weight loss. Just saving money might not get you to your goal. Yes, and we have to do those things and assess how that affects the whole situation, right? Now, I know people don't like to hear that. They want me to tell them, okay, if you do this one exercise 30 times, you will walk better. Well, if you do that one exercise, that will change your walking, but it's not going to change it like that. Reps in, every rep, every time you do focus movement, every time you work on your sensory integration, every time you move with a visual and vestibular strategy, that is money in the bank, and that is what's going to make your walking better, your balance better, your weight better, your finances better, your love life better, your relationships better. That is the key. And if I'm being honest, let's talk about our brains. Hello? Our brains cannot handle too much information at once. You might already be like, I have to revisit this podcast. I'm still on question 1. She's on question 2. That's fine. Our brain does better with something small and powerful, and then give it time to integrate. Plateaus are necessary. They're a part of learning. It's your brain becoming more efficient at that thing. So if you throw all these big changes in your life, if you change your business, change this, whoa, just make one small change. I have all my mentees, when they change their prices, change it on your website first. But they're like, well, I'm afraid maybe a client who doesn't know me is going to see that price and then they're not going to pay. Hello, that's not your client. They don't value your expertise. They might not need your help yet. Okay? Someone's like, well, you're like triple any other Pilates teacher in the area. I go, yeah, because I'm not a Pilates teacher. If you want to come to me for a workout, I'm going to give you a workout, but there's going to be brain-based. I'm going to be looking at all your movement patterns. There's nothing wrong with just going to a Pilates class. There's nothing wrong with those Pilates teachers just teaching Pilates. That's amazing. People need that. They need to get to move. I work with the people that they need to retrain in movement pattern. Whether something bad happened, they're a professional athlete, they're injured, we've got to be more technical and create a shift at the brain. You are paying for that. Some of you might not need me yet. I hope you will never need me. Or maybe you can, do our NeuroStudio group classes and you'll never need me because you're always integrating your brain and body. Like that plug for the NeuroStudio? Boop. However, when we are doing these small changes, so put the change on your website. Be clear about what you offer. I always laugh. I'll be like, who are you writing your website for? Other Pilates teachers? Other CrossFit teachers? People want results. Tell the people what you do. Have you tried everything and you're still in chronic pain? Come see me. I'll help you. All right, cool. How do we do this? How are you going to help me? Tell them how you're going to help them. Well, everybody's different. And I'm like, oh my God. You're telling me everybody's different? Hello, I know that. Yes, we know everybody's different. How are you going to help somebody get rid of whatever you're going to help them get rid of? Yes, everybody's different, but create a system. I follow the same formula for everybody, but completely different based off their unique sensory approaches. I truly individualize a session based off you, not your symptoms, not anything else, okay? But I don't go into huge detail on that because people don't know what I mean. Okay, so I keep it simple. That's number one. Then see how that goes. If you're not getting new clients, don't decrease your prices. Check your messaging. I guarantee your messaging is off. You're not targeting the right people. And I love when people say, I haven't gotten any new customers. Well, how are you getting customers? Word of mouth. That's not how you run a business. Word of mouth is lovely. What's your SEO? Are you doing search engine optimization? Are you on Instagram? If you're a brick and mortar business and most of your clients are 60s plus, they're probably not on the gram. They're probably on Facebook. They're definitely not on Snapchat or TikTok. Some of them might be. So go to where your people are, right? So don't assume it's you sucking as a teacher. Check your messaging. If you're doing a ton of intakes for sessions and people aren't coming back, then you have to revisit what you're doing as a teacher. Because for whatever reason, what you're doing is not translating to them. Maybe you gave them a great session, but they don't see how that's going to help them with this. You've got to do a better job at telling them, all right, today we're going to work on this. That's step one. Ultimately, we're going to get here, but we got to stay at step one today. If I let you skip the steps, I would be doing you a disservice, which is not lip service. It's the truth. Okay? So revisit. Are you as good as you think you are? I'm always challenging myself as a teacher. Not because I don't think I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough. It's so I stay curious and into it. I get bored very easily, so I don't want to get bored of this, right? So when I kind of stay into it and look at things from a different lens, it keeps it exciting, right? I hate Groundhog Day. I don't like the same repetitive shit. I don't like having the same schedule week to week. I need diversity and change. My brain craves it. Okay, so that's how I keep in the game. That's what helps me. So if I want to be more successful at 2026, I've got to stay focused on the work. I got to dig deeper. I got to figure out how to explain my messaging about the cerebellum, and it's different from everybody else. And the current cerebellum assessments is not assessing what you think. I don't want to say it like that because I feel like I'm bad-mouthing other people's work. How do we convey that this is different without putting down? Okay, I'm working on it. Not there yet. You'll know I'm there. There'll be a cerebellum episode. So, think about your big goal. What is one shift you can make to get there? One small shift. And I'd like you to start it today. Today. Do you know what my small shift for 2026 is? Cook one thing at the house every day. That's how I started 2025. And I was doing so well until my dad's diagnosis, which has nothing to do with my cooking, but I let it interfere with that. Okay? I usually only cook eggs at the house, but that is a one thing. I also want you to eat more vegetables and a little better. But first I have to commit to start cooking at home. Okay. So my step one is one thing every day I've got to cook at home. As soon as I turn you guys off, I am going to go and make my eggs. And no, I will not be adding vegetables to it, which is a really easy way to add more vegetables if I don't have any vegetables at the house. If anybody has advice on how to have vegetables when you need them, hook me up. I always have vegetables when I don't need them or I don't want them, and then they go bad. Like, I can't tell you how many cucumbers have gone bad in my refrigerator. It feels so wasteful. I hate it. So I need a different strategy. So send your vegetable-related ideas. I want to hear them. And please don't tell me just to roast them when you get them. I do not like leftovers. I have a thing about it. And then one of my clients told me that leftovers have more histamines and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, sold. I don't like leftovers anyway. So I know that's a thing, but I know you guys can come up with solutions. I know one person in particular who's going to give me a solution. I can't wait to hear. So to just wrap a bow around this, I'm at, what am I at, 41 minutes? All right, so I'll keep it under 45. I want you to look back at 2025 with rewind the tape. I want you to look back at 2025 with curiosity, compassion, and love. I want you to think about what taught you the most and how you can bring that lesson into 2026. How you can use that lesson to create a new goal. How you can take that goal and work backwards. Meaning, okay, if that's my goal, what are going to be the steps that I need to get there? And how am I going to assess my progress? Because assessing your progress is going to help you pivot. I have all these assessments, okay? And yes, they will be in the textbook when it is done. It is not done. My aunt keeps asking me when it's done. I said, you'll know. It's not done yet. Because it is critical to assess as we go. It's how I take a movement session. Every exercise assesses what we do next from a sensory approach, okay? Once we work backwards, have our goal, break up that goal, have our assessments, make a decision right now. What is one small shift you can take into 2026? Not 3 shifts, not 2 shifts, one thing that you know you confidently can do in 2026 without fear. Because I promise you, step 1 is the hardest. And when you get past step 1, don't be skipping 2, 3, and 4, but stay involved in the progress. I promise you, if you stay focused on the process, you will enjoy 2026, whether it is the best year or the worst year. So, to sign off for 2025, thank you all for being here. Thanks to Joe, my editor, who edits all these, puts in the little bits, always catches me with a weird face. Will edit an episode last minute if I record the podcast last minute. So if you need anybody to help you with podcasts or stuff like that, hire Joe. He is amazing to work with. I will vouch. Also, thanks to Shantae, who introduced me to Joe, and Shantae, who encouraged me to do this. Thank you to the whole Neuro Studio community and everybody who has downloaded and liked it. And most of all, thanks to my family, who reminds me every day I ain't shit, and they love me despite all this, whether it was 1 download, 5,000 downloads, or anything else. I love you all, and I hope you have a safe and healthy rest of 2025, and let's kick off 2026 with a bang. I'll see you then.